All right, I wanted to do an overview video of what you can find inside the case of the MK Chameleon, what some details about the case, and just show you a couple of the mechanics of it up close. So it's in a very interesting case. Um, if I remember correctly, it's fully machined out of a single solid block of aluminum, so it's kind of hard to see on camera, but on the edges there's no weld or anything. It is out of a single block. So it's basically hollowed out for the inside of the plastic case, which seems to be maybe a hard acrylic material that is kind of that barrier between this put of metal, and I don't know if it's aluminum exactly, but of metal here and the hard acrylic that's keeping the whistle safe. And so there are, I'll go over a little bit more details first. There's serial number on this side of the case, and just some branding. On the back, you've got this strap and some feet to keep it stable. And you will want the strap most likely when you're taking it somewhere. If you're getting one of these, the case is made of metal and so is the whistle. So I think the bulk of the weight really is the case, but the case is quite hefty. So, and since it's a custom whistle, you're probably going to want to use this case. I can't imagine that a normal low D whistle case is going to fit this thing because of the legs. So this is the four-legged version. So because of the legs, it probably won't fit in a normal sized case. And you'll probably want to use this one, but it is pretty hefty, so you'll also probably want to use the strap. So there are arrows on the sides here, both facing this direction. So if you would just push on the end of the acrylic open, it kind of opens. I think it opens like it's spring-loaded, but I don't see any springs or pneumatics. So it's basically like a very tight fit. So it basically slides out very almost smoothly like it's on rails in here. And you can see, though, in here it's completely hollow all the way through. I'll put it right at the camera there. So I'll put that aside. You've seen that now. So what all comes in the MK Chameleon case? So we'll get to the whistle last and the details of the whistle a little bit later. So it does come with this insert for fingerings. I found so far that some of the MK Pro fingerings work completely fine, but I was kind of futzing around with the upper end of the whistle because you can get quite high on this thing. It's very easy to blow, and I wasn't having much success until I used the fingerings on here. So this is definitely very valuable, and since it's a chromatic whistle, there are going to be things that I don't know that you don't know if you're picking something up like this about how to use the keys specific or correctly for the MK Chameleon to make sure it's in tune. There might be another key that you need to vent when playing something. It's great to take a look at that. Also, I think this is very funny. But in the acrylic, there's actually a cutout for the tuning grease. So, or the tuning slide grease. So that comes with the whistle. And it's definitely needed because the whistle slides on. You can see here the gold section. It's metal on metal, so giving it a little bit of friction allows it to slide really easily. And it doesn't slide so easily that it's going to come out of place when you're playing it, or it's going to like slide down beyond. But it feels like a good, well-fit, well-manufactured whistle to where it's going to hold its place, but it's also not too stiff where you're really forcing it down, especially with the grease. And I just keep that in there because if you're keeping this flat on the table, it's really not going anywhere. Then you've got the whistle. So it's in these felt inserts. And there's really only one correct way to put this in the case. So you'll want to take your time putting it in. This back one has its own rest here. That's the front leg. And in the front here, the mouthpiece has it almost shares this lip here where the mouthpiece goes over the lip, and the upper chameleon leg in the front goes underneath the mouthpiece. So I'll take it out of the case for you. Just apply a little bit of pressure just to pop it out. A little scary, but completely fine. And it is a super interesting instrument. I'll play it in another video because it's pretty late at night right now. That just slides on like so. And it is really interesting. So if you've played an MK Pro whistle, I'll also do another video directly comparing the sound and the ergonomics of the two because they are different. Because you have some things going on in the back. you have some things going on with the pinky. So if you played an MK Pro, it is different. But there's also a lot of the same here. The finger, when I held them side by side, it seems like the thickness of the bore, or not only the thickness, but also the shape of the bore is exactly the same between the two. It does seem like it's made of a different metal, but they seem like they weigh the same, so I can't tell exactly. And the holes seem like they're placed exactly the same as well. So if you're used to the MK Pro, this is probably easy to pick up and play the D notes. However, there is some interesting action going on with the other notes here, which is probably why you'd pick up one of these, not just to play a D major scale, but because it's chromatic. So I'll talk a little bit about what notes you have access to through the extra keys. So to use the extra keys on the MK Chameleon, you're going to need the use of both of your thumbs in the back of the whistle here, and the use of your pinkies on the sides and the front. And so when you're holding the whistle, there are two things going on. First, at a neutral position, you're holding your thumbs against the bottom part of this textured bit here. So both of these like slides or levers, they have all these circles, and that's kind of textured for you to put your thumb on. Same thing down here. That means you can place your thumb anywhere down here, and it will hold down that pad, and by default, it's open. You can see both of them are open right now. And so you'll want to hold both of those closed, because venting those is how you get extra notes from the back. It's the reverse for the front, which is what can make this a little bit confusing, but in time, it might be a little bit more intuitive. So, for example, I've got access to F natural from the back. This is my F natural key. I've got access to B flat from this one, which is the upper thumb key. I've got access to D sharp or E flat from the front key or the bottom leg, or the bottom pinky leg, and the upper pinky leg gives me access to G sharp. So all in all, if you're using an alternate fingering for C natural, you've got access to all 12 notes in a chromatic scale. So to finger through something like that, it would look like this. So I have my hand normally on the whistle. Hold a little closer here. Have my hand normally on the whistle. This is me playing low D, and to get to D sharp, I'm just going to apply a little bit of pressure on the pinky key here, and you can see it opens and vents. So now I'm letting a little air out, so the pitch is a little higher, coming to D sharp. So after D sharp, there's E. This is just a normal fingering, but then to get to F natural, hard to show you while I'm holding it. To get to F natural, I need to vent into the back. But I actually lift my finger off of the key. And I don't know that it would really be ergonomic to slide your thumb all the way up this bit to the gold part where the top of the lever is always down. See, if I put pressure here, there's no action going on with the key. If I put it anywhere down further, it's very easy action closing the key. So you could maybe slide your finger up, but I think the ergonomics of this are a lot better suited to just lifting your finger and having a good control or balance of the whistle into the other parts of your hand, and just being aware of where your fingers are placed. So going from D to D sharp, I'm adding a key to increase the pitch, but then going from E to E sharp or E to F natural, I'm going to depress a key. And so that back and forth of depress a key to get some chromaticism, or press a key, depress a key to get some chromaticism, and I'm switching back and forth around lifting and pressing fingers. It does add another layer of complexity to this. And it's not as intuitive as you might think, or honestly, it doesn't sound very intuitive on paper, but it is very effective, is what I'll say. It's very fun to play. I love the sound that this whistle gets, and I'm really looking forward to making some videos that highlight the chromatic nature of it. You can do a lot of things that aren't Irish tunes with this, or you can do a lot of things that are Irish tunes and other keys with this. So I think most typically, well, let me finish where I'm going with the keys. So we'll go over the keys and I'll talk a little bit more about the uses. So I have depressed the key on the back for F natural, and then to get to F sharp, I will put my thumb back down in the back and just go to one hole for F sharp. Now, for this, because the key is actually below where I am for F sharp, so the F note is actually coming out of this hole, not the one my finger is on. So if I'm playing F sharp, I've got this as my last finger. This is actually above where this note is. So closing this as I go up to F sharp, it makes a little difference in the tone and pitch, but not that much. So you can, as you kind of get used to this, you'll get a little bit more familiarity with how fast and when do I need to put down keys. Sometimes they'll affect notes, sometimes they won't. So like holding the G sharp key down and playing A, again, it's below where the A comes out. You can see the G sharp key is here and the A is coming out here when I'm holding an A. So holding the G sharp in preparation for playing a G sharp is actually okay if you're on A. But if you're holding the G sharp in preparation for playing a G sharp and you're on F natural, I'm venting the G sharp above that, and that's a problem. It probably just won't play, or it'll play some sort of weird in between pitch. So I'm on F sharp, G natural is just 1, 2, 3. G sharp, you're adding a key. I find this very intuitive. This is a saxophone fingering. Well, saxophones don't own it, but it's a fingering common to saxophones. 1, 2, 3 plus left pinky. That can be a number of things, but the main thing for saxophones is G sharp. So this is very intuitive to me to add this. And then A is just 1, 2. And then B flat is 1, 2 with no left thumb. I think I find this fingering to be the hardest of them all so far, just because I'm used to playing saxophone or other whistles. So other whistles don't have a key. Playing saxophone, you generally don't depress a key to play a B flat. I don't remember exactly, but I don't think there is a combination that I'm familiar with off the top of my head where you actually use less keys than an A to play a B flat. Or sorry, that's not true. I want to say that between an A and the B flat, you will pick up a key, but so maybe that line of reasoning is wrong, but it is quite weird to pick up your left thumb to get an A flat, an A sharp, rather than going to a B. Like I guess in my mind, it is pretty intuitive to press a key to increase the pitch. So the back thumbs, while they work really well and the tone is really great, and I think the F natural is probably the most important key on this whistle if you're playing in D. It is a little bit of a learning curve for those where you might find the front legs a little bit more intuitive. One other note of comparison here, I think I've explained all the chromatic notes, is that there is another model of this, which is I don't have it, so I can't compare exactly to it, but based off of what I've seen online from people who have played this, and also what I can see just looking at the difference between the way they're listed and the model specifications, the back notes on this are still present on what is called the two-legged version. So this is four-legged because there's four levers. You have these front levers here for D sharp and G sharp. Those are present on both models. But for the two-legged version, there is no lever in the back here. There is a hole, and I know that MK Whistles will send you a stopper for that, but that's also where you have that F natural, which is what I said I think is probably your most useful bet out of getting this whistle, besides maybe G sharp. But I still think F natural is maybe the most important. So you have a hole to cover with your thumb if you want to use that F natural, which means you're locked into position. One of these specific areas on here would be a hole. Instead, your thumb has to cover that at all times if you want to have access to it and it's not plugged. So this lever is so much more ergonomic because I can place my thumb anywhere on it. And there's no guarantee that the way I'm used to playing the low whistle grip is correct or is even in the right spot for that. that F natural. And if I'm not using B flat, then fine, I'll just place my thumb wherever and put the plug in. But it's not perfect. And I do find that being able to put your thumb on this textured bit, it does give you quite a bit of more hold on the whistle. You do have to hold them closed, so it does take a little bit more pressure over time. But all in all, it is surprisingly ergonomic and sounds great. So I'm really looking forward to sharing the sound in another video. So if you have any questions, I'm happy to answer them based on my experience so far. And I will be sure to put up some playing videos soon about what kind of sound you can expect and how it compares to maybe some other MK whistles that you've heard before.